Christine Holgate never resigned.
The member...
Now, don't tell lies. Some scorched land, wide and free. Are we just going to continue with them screwing the farmers down through the floor? But I ain't spending any time on it.
Don't keep interrupting me. You hear me? Don't keep interrupting me. I have a right.
We welcome Shane McCarthy onto our podcast. Shane has always been known as Sheep McCarthy from his school days right through to the present. But now there's no sheep in Australia. 371 million out of 3 million. So now we call him Shane. But he's the head of AgForce in Queensland and probably our best spokesman for rural Australia in Australia. Over to you, Sheep. What would you have done if you were the boss of Australia in that budget?
Cut red and green tape, Bob. That's our biggest cost. We're not going to tax our way out of a deficit. We never will. So if you can reduce the burden on local governments, burden on agriculture in the fact of how much red and green tape, I think it's when the producers get out of bed in the morning, 88 bits of legislation that we have to contend with every day. Shop owners do 20, agriculture does 88. So to be able to reduce the red and green tape that we have to deal with on a daily basis.
And I don't want to have a go at my brother cousins here, but the black tape as well.
Yep, definitely. Let's free up what we're doing. We're look, every time we turn sideways, we've got to fill out another form. What we do in agriculture and local government is we spend money better than anybody else, more productively than anybody else. We can't afford not to. That land needs to be productive, especially in agriculture. Otherwise, we're not there. We are more environmentally friendly than any other farmers in the world. 42% more environmentally friendly than our peers. Now, our peers are the EU, Argentina, USA. So we do more with less. We produce 60% more product with 28% less land than we did 30 years ago.
If you draw a line from Tully across to Normanton, that's almost the whole of Cape York Peninsula, there's about 100,000 head of cattle left there, where there were 600,000 head of cattle. Now, the people that live there are mostly First Australians.
Yep.
So who did you hurt? You hurt the First Australians. That's who you hurt. Now, did it do any good? No, there's no one looking after it now. And let me give you one single example, which you are well aware of. The cassowary, the symbol of North Queensland, is doomed. There's no way it can survive the pig numbers. And unless you let the shooters in there with their pig dogs, the cassowary's gone. And it will be upon your head, you great greeny geniuses.
Well, Bob, if you're not reducing pig numbers by 2/3 every year, you're losing the battle. So and there's a lot of pigs out there. So we've got to use every tool in the toolbox to get rid of those pigs. And I would suggest it's just not pigs. It's pigs, it's wild dogs, it's cats, it's foxes, it's everything.
Cats really bad, really bad. They take 23 birds every night.
It's not good, and we've got to reduce those numbers somehow. Biodiversity is a good thing, and I mean native species. We've got to protect those native species. And the best way to do that is get rid of the feral species.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's absolutely reducing the burden on people being able to try to produce. So the amount of red tape, green tape, and that's just not filling forms out. That's getting consultants in to do the right work. So I've got to pay somebody to do that. I've then got the time, the effort that I'm doing on that instead of actually doing some production. That's the biggest thing is reducing that. If you can't and you won't tax your way out of a deficit.
Can I put a question to you? Our cattle numbers still seem to be about 26 million. Well, they were our cattle numbers back in the 70s and 80s. And there's no sheep now. I mean, you're in my home country with mostly sheep.
Yep.
There's no sheep now. So cattle numbers should have gone up, as they expanded into those sheep areas. And I repeat the figures, 371 million sheep in Australia. Now there's 3 million sheep in Australia. And Harry Waira, your mate told me, sure, that there'll very soon be no sheep at all in our homeland, North Queensland.
So we've gone from, sheep south of the railway line, being completely sheep country, to there is no sheep left there now. And look, it has its disadvantages. When I left school way back in the 80s, that was a long time after you, but back in the 80s,
Don't be nasty.
in the 80s, there was 13 shearing teams in Yonda. Now we haven't even got a shearer. So the reduction in numbers is just of workers is incredible. But I would suggest that a lot of that land has now gone to either carbon projects and been locked up, native parks, national parks being locked up, same sort of thing. And the only thing that happens to that land when it happens to that is it degrades. It's not. We're not going back to a natural that it was 40,000 years ago.
The Greenies got some sort of idea
Absolutely
that
none,
nature
generally.
stands still. I mean, go and have a look at the prickly trees. 30,000 square kilometres of prickly trees has destroyed all native flora and fauna to 30,000. Now, we haven't got the option of standing still and doing nothing. And I mean, honestly, if you gave every single station, when we get the balance of power, every cattle station will get 200 hectares of freehold irrigation farm, right? Doubling the numbers, but also increasing dramatically the profitability of each of those station properties. Now, to do that now, I don't know, probably take you 6 years. I just might take 6 years. If you applied for an irrigation licence, and
6 years, are you getting it done quicker than anybody else I know?
just like
10 years and counting.
But I was appointed Minister for what was called Aboriginal Affairs. I hate that name, but anyway, that's what it was. And I ended up with the community. It was about 3.5 million acres, and it's in what they now call the community areas. They're the old mission stations, and if it wasn't for the Christian missionaries, I'm afraid and ashamed to admit that probably there'd be no first Australians left in North Queensland. The fighting was so bad. On one side had rifles, the others spears and warmers. But leave that aside for a moment. That on that 3 million acres, there was 12,500 head on Kianyama. There was 6,000 head on Pumparao. Most of the other places had similar sort of figures. As far as I can make out, there's effectively no cattle left on either place. Now, there's cattle there, but they're just not being branded, not being mustered. And where's the incentive? I mean, where is the incentive?
Well, the incentive is let's get something happening, and the last part of the country to be developed is the northern part of the country. We have a terrible lot of water in that area.
You've got more than half Australia's water.
And we don't
You've got
hold
more than
any
half
of it
Australia's
back.
Water.
Hardly hold any of it back.
Less than 2%.
So let's build some dams.
It's 28% in New South Wales. It's 2%.
Were you part of a state government was the last one to build a dam?
Absolutely.
So how
the
long?
The last one was that year.
Was that 100 years ago?
Well, I was a lot younger. That was about 35 years ago,
But build some dams, hold some water back, and then do some irrigation.
Now, you're on one of the... Actually, you were the chairman of the body to build what is called the Hidco Dam, Huondan Irrigation Development Corporation. You were the leader, founder. Now, the 100,000 is still in the budget, but your council, your mayor, who's a great friend of both of us, she rang me this week all excited because she thinks maybe there's been a water allocation. Thinks maybe.
Yeah.
Are you able to say anything more than that?
I know some details of it, not the full details, but I understand that the state government is setting aside, or maybe setting aside, some water allocation for that project, which is probably the best news we've had since you got us some cash to try and go and build it.
I'd say in the last century.
I think there is a pathway now to water for that project, which is, that's the best news we've had in the last about 6 or 7 years.
Shane, the population of Griffith in New South Wales was 801 people. They put the irrigation in, it's now 27,000 people, and they have extremely high incomes, right? Not just the farmers, everyone in that community, extremely high incomes. When they put the irrigation in Emerald, there were 1,031 people, and now there is 17,000 people. When they put the irrigation in, it was just over 800 people living in Mareeba. There's now 26,000 people living in Greater Mareeba. And I mean, these are people that have a lifestyle that the rest of the world can only dream of. Their incomes are twice as high as the average income in Australia, let alone the rest of the world.
Bob, Freddie Tridden, mate of ours.
A great Australian.
Listen, I heard him talk one day. They were talking about developing northern Queensland. They all asked him what are the 5 most important things that you need to get done to be able to develop North Queensland, northern part of Australia. And he said the 5 most important things were water, 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 and water.
I wish I had sort of said I knew. I reckon I know what he'd say.
Yep.
But the difficulty with getting water licences and a permit to have irrigation is so difficult that I doubt whether we'd have half a dozen people in the whole of the Midwest.
It is, but then you've seen it, I've seen it. When governments want to do something, that it gets done.
Can happen very fast.
It happens very, very fast. So there's got to be.
Or governments let us do something.
Well, that's the other thing. Get out of the way and let us do it. But it happens very fast, and it things that they say can't happen overnight.
Shane, we've lost 5 Western Inland federal seats over the last 30 years as population drains out of inland Australia. That's just in New South Wales and Queensland. I don't know about the other states. But 5 seats have been lost because population is just draining away into the cities. Well, you can buy a house in Ewan, didn't we? We come from, our homeland. You buy a house for, I don't know how much.
Yeah. Oh, look, depending on what type of house you want, but it's around about the 300,000 to 400,000.
Yeah, well, the average price of a house in Queensland now is over 800,000. No, sorry, that was 10 years ago, 800,000. So it'd probably be over $1 million now, the average. But the average nearly 10 years ago was 800,000. And you can buy a house out there for less than half that price. But your initiative on that water will give you a population on every other place where it's happened of 17 or 18,000 people. And as a boy from the Midwest, sheep, all I wanted to do was play football. And I wasn't coming home.
But from Cloncurry, Bob, wrong place. You needed to play for Huon, and then Jackie wouldn't have hit you in the face.
Good friend of his rearranged my nose. But then it had been rearranged previously, so it didn't make a lot of difference. I'm being handed notes here. We Cloncurry boys, we don't read or write too good, sheep.
No
right
comment.
For you.
No comment.
Upmarket Hughenden boys. I can't help but mention, because it was such a funny incident. Jackie McIntosh Stupid left a huge gap between himself and the scrum base. We're both playing on the wing. So yours truly went straight through that big hole, straight in under the black dot, for a try, right? And no, that's not entirely true. The bottom half of my body did. The top half was going the other direction. He caught me in a magnificent stiffer. And I went home that night. My mother said, I told you not to play this stupid game. You'll be ugly for the rest of your life. And I looked in the mirror and my nose wrapped all over my face. But I shouldn't have worried because Dudley Bulmer straightened it up for me 2 weeks later.
Helped you out.
He owned taxis in town, so every time I got in his taxi, he sent me an account for plastic surgery, which hadn't been so. Hey, seriously, that battle over that water, that really is a battle as to whether Australia goes forward or goes backwards. It's easy and simple. Di Lee is a very close friend of mine and one of the best members of Parliament I've ever worked with. She represents inner Sydney. But, where we say irrigation and dams, she will say underwear factory. They lost 5,000 jobs when Bonds moved offshore to China, right? So, we're singing from the same hymn book, whether you're in inner Sydney or whether you're in outer Mongolia where we come from.
Yep.
But unless we get changes in the parliament, and you don't need a lot of seats, you just need a balance of power. But I don't want you to comment on this, but National Party's just puppets on a string, and I greatly admire Matt Caravan, and he'll do his best to pull it back, but he won't. And Barnaby Joyce, I've got a lot of time for Barnaby. He'll do his best to do something too, but it's not going to happen. It's just simply not going to happen. Both of them have been in positions of power before, and very sadly, they've been able to accomplish nothing, because if you've got to toe a party line, the party line is set by Sydney and Brisbane and Melbourne, and you're never going to be able to do the things that need to be done. But I wish them well and hope they can have success. Shane, before you go, on bended knees, you've got to keep that light shining in Hughenden. The first irrigation scheme, it'll be in 35 years.
Well, it's a fight we can't afford to lose. If we're going to...
For your country, not for Hughenden, for your country.
Well, if we're going to develop the north, and if we're going to feed not just the country, but the region as well.
1,000 million people go to bed hungry every night.
There's a lot of people to the north that need that food. So if we're going to do that, and that contributes to stability in the regions, it's not a battle that we can afford to lose.
If I could leave on that note, whenever I say we don't want that Middle Eastern, North African crowd in here, I never use the word Islam, because Indonesia is mostly Islamic. There's about 12% Christian, but it's entirely different. The ambassador is Christian. The Indonesian ambassador. The deputy ambassador is Christian.
Yep.
Could you imagine Libya or Qatar having a Christian ambassador? And that's the difference between. So don't say that religion. Use the word Middle East and North Africa. And we are being drowned in, 500,000 of those people coming in each year, and another 500,000 from all sorts of weird and wonderful places. But let's be positive. Don't see the darkness. Let's just look at the shining light of what might be. And you happen to be holding that shining light, my brother.
No pressure, Bob. No pressure.
Thank you very much for your time, Shane. I know how busy you are. And you've proved, I'm very proud of the fact that, we come from our homeland, you and I, the same homeland, and you're doing a marvellous job. It's the first time the Sugar Blokes have spoken positively about AgForce in my 50 years in Parliament. So good on you, mate.
Thanks, Bob.